What's up guys, DJ here at Top Tech Cards and Games, and today I'm going to start doing deck profiles for the new Yu-Gi-Oh format that's effective the end of March. Today I'm going to talk about the deck that is kind of the clear frontrunner for decks that you should be prepared for, which is Paleo. I actually hate this deck. Not saying that it's a bad deck necessarily, it's just not the type of deck that I have any interest in playing. It's slow, it can be clunky sometimes, it plays a million trap cards, it's not purely reactive. That's actually where this deck gets off on being able to play 20-some trap cards, and that its trap cards are also decent offensive threats. So we'll just get through the deck and kind of talk about it a little bit. First, we have 3 Swap Frog. This is the best card in the deck. If you can open this, you're going to win more often than not. It's just so strong to start setting up your Ronin totems and get free fodder in your grave for them. Then I'm only playing 2 dupe. I just don't want to break too much on frogs. They're kind of clunky. You really want this to special it off of Toad, but in the first place you don't really want to draw dupe. And then 2 Ronin. You just don't want to play 1 because of the risk of banishing it for pot, as well as your opponent's various ways to interact with it, such as Rhapsody. You also don't want to put both of them in your graveyard all the time because of cards like Rhapsody. You don't want to give your opponent the easy way to get rid of your Ronins. We do have 3 pots, though. Partially because we want to see swap turn 1 as often as possible, partially because we just want to make sure we have a million trap cards that we can set turn 1. We also have 3 card of Demise for the same reason. Sometimes you'll have to discard, but that's kind of mitigated by the way the Paleos work, since you're able to bring them back from your graveyard, as well as cards like Lost Wind and Breakthrough Skill, not really giving a crap if they're in your bin. And then finally 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, because we have clear cards that we're just trying to open all the time. Card of Demise, Swap Frog, Barrier. So 39 card deck it is. Next we have the Paleo line. I'm not sure what's even considered standard anymore for your Paleos. I played 10. I have 3 Candia, not Canadia, my bad. 3 Olenoids, 3 Dynamiscus, and a Morella. I think these 9 are standard. I think every deck's going to play these even with the poor synergy between Dynamiscus and Card of Demise. I think it's too good to pass up on the Karmic HUD, the MST, or the Book of Moon, and then 1 copy of Morella, 1 because I want 10 Paleos to recycle, and 2 because I think Lost Wind is a really good card right now, and we also have a copy of Breakthrough Skill in the deck that you're able to dump with this, as well as just filling your grave with more Paleos for some more proactive plays. This is also the one that you can just activate to activate. You're able to just go, I'll activate Morella, bring back another Paleo, which gives you more ways to stack your board up. Kind of on that note, we have 3 copies of Reckless Greed, which is standard for this deck for a number of reasons. The big one being that you can just activate Reckless Greed and bring back a Paleo, so you're able to use it aggressively. On your turn, you just Reckless Greed, bring back a Paleo, and draw 2 cards. That sets you up to set more back rows and fill your board. Additionally, you have 3 Wabaku, because you're able to activate it at any point to set back up a Paleo, but it also makes it impossible for your opponent to deal with your board. So if they're not able to kill your Paleo monsters, then you're kind of in a great spot where they're not dealing with your Toads, they're not dealing with your any of your monsters, any of your rank 2s, your Toads, your Opina, whatever it is, and you're able to just continue gaining value out of them. Then we have 3 copies of Barrier, because I think we're still going to see a lot of decks that want to use their extra deck. Wow, what a surprise. And Barrier is just the best card against them. You're able to use that, you're able to trigger a Paleo on it, and it's just I don't think there's anything I haven't said about Barrier, about how good it is. 2 copies of Quaking Mirror Force. I actually wanted to play 3, but I couldn't find a spot for it. Debatably, you could cut Upstart Goblin for the 3rd Quaking. I don't think that's necessarily a bad choice, or if you're the kind of person who's just vehemently against playing triple Pot of Desires, which I know a lot of people are, with the logic of they don't want to deck themselves. Again, if you're of that school of thought, you could put the 3rd Quaking in, though I disagree with that. Maybe the Upstart cut would be reasonable. I'm not sure. This card is actually really strong, though, and I definitely could justify playing 3 of them. I think this is the best Mirror Force to play. You're still going to see people playing My Body as a shield, so I don't think you want to play Standard Mirror Force or Blazing Mirror Force. Storming's okay. I can't remember what the other one's called now. But yeah, I think Quaking is just the best one to play. It's just so versatile, and it locks your opponent's board up by flipping their guys down, so they're stuck in play. I have 2 copies of Lost Wind and a copy of Breakthrough, like I mentioned before. Again, if you're really big on Lost Wind, you could switch the 3rd Breakthrough the breakthrough for the third Lost Wind. But with Morella in the deck, I like having the ability to dump breakthrough because I think there's enough situations where I would rather send breakthrough to my graveyard than Lost Wind that it makes it justifiable. But that's definitely a flexible slot if you'd rather play a third Lost Wind. These cards are also really important because they're cards you're okay with discarding off of Card of Demise if your hand's too full. We also have Compulse, just a really good trap card right now. Versatile, you can use it at any point. And Imperial Order. This is one of the things that I like about this deck, actually. From the ban list, it gained Imperial Order, which I think is better than Anti-Spell. They're not by a huge margin. And this is one of the only decks that I can think of, like, easily that wants to mainboard Imperial Order. And this is just such a strong card that I'm very interested in getting to play it. Shutting off all of your opponent's spell cards, all of your spell cards too, obviously, but once you're set up, you don't care if you're not playing more draw spells. Your opponent has to deal with your back rows without spells. And that's definitely a winning proposition for you every time, especially if you get to chain it to like a Twin Twister and make your opponent lose 2 cards while you keep your order and stop all their spells in the future. One other thing, and I don't know if I have one of these right on me right now. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here we go. The Paleozoic Choila or whatever. Their names on these cards are, first of all, just totally preposterous. I don't know. I mean, I know why they're named that way, but like I hate it. This card's actually pretty sweet. You're able to use it once per turn to do what Omega does, put a banished card back into your graveyard. So if you hit too many of your Rodins or too many of your Paleos off Pot Desires, you can still get them back in your bin. When your Paleos get removed, you can put them back in, and you can loop Breakthrough and Lost One with the card. So I think there's definitely a good like justification to put one of these in your deck so that you're able to keep looping those cards back in if you're interested in doing that. But it requires setup, so it's not great from the beginning of the game unless you open pot. But I do think that could be an effect you're interested in, whether that's recycling Lost Wind, recycling Ronin Toad, or just getting back a Paleo. Okay, so for the extra deck, it's kind of straightforward. We have 3 copies of Toad because Toad is insanely good. Whenever you make Toad and you're able to special Dew Frog off of it so it protects itself from battle too, you're kind of just feeling amazing. 3 copies of Opapina because you have the space in your extra deck. And this card's sweet. For those of you who don't know what this card does, it lets you activate your trap cards from your hand and you're able to tutor up one of your trap cards, which is just really strong. 1 copy of Anomalocaris. Take 2. Anomalocaris. Cat Shark for damage. Sky Cavalry. Number 45. Dagesto Phoenix. F-Zero, and then with F-Zero we have Downerd Magician and Zodiac, Borbo, and Dryden. Didn't go any deeper than that on the Zodiac line. You just want to take one of their guys, overlay one time, and then overlay Dryden on top of that just to give yourself an extra material. And there are some fringe situations where if you happen to like take a boar, or not a boar, but like a Thoroughblade or something, you'd rather have a Borbo than the other options for Zodiacs. And Downerd Magician, same thing. You take something and you can go into it, and I probably don't even know how F-Zero is. Let's make sure that works. No, only until the end of the battle phase. So that doesn't even work, guys. I am an idiot, and you can just totally disregard that. So my extra deck sucks. Downerd's still good. Downerd can still go over your, Downerd can still go over your rank 2s. These guys suck, and I would not use them. So instead of those, you can play any various rank 2s. There's not really many options that aren't in here. I'm not going to re-record the video just because my extra deck was wrong. You can put another Cat Shark in. You can put Herald of Pure Light. You can put another Downerd in, etc., etc. But yeah, I'm not going to redo that just for the extra deck. Sorry for the mistake. But yeah, the main board is pretty solid. There's definitely changes you can make, so definite flexible spots. You could even go up to a 3rd Lost Wind and keep the 1 of Breakthrough Scale. You could play more Morellas in that situation, maybe, if that's something you're into. I don't know. There's a decent amount of flexibility just in changing your trap card lineup around. The thing that really draws me to this deck is that you get to play Card of Demise and Pot of Desire. There's not really that much else about this deck that I'm in love with, but whenever I look at a deck list and see this much powerful card advantage, it's pretty hard for me to not at least consider it as an option. And that's basically where I am with Paleozoic right now. This just has such good Such good card draw, such good interaction. It kind of doesn't really fail at any aspect of the game, so I think it's definitely a deck worth playing, and Swap Frog is actually one of my favorite cards to play with, so there's a lot of pluses for the deck. The downside is that you are extremely reactive at the beginning of the game, and your opponent can just summon Denko against you, and sometimes you can't beat that. But that's a risk you have to be willing to take, I guess. You're not going to play against many mainboard Denkos, I don't think. There's a chance that this deck is so popular that mainboard Denko becomes kind of common practice, but I doubt that that's going to be the situation, at least at the beginning of the format. Let me know what you guys think down below. Obviously, I know my extra deck was a crap hole, and that's fine. You don't have to tell me 50 times, but if you have any comments on the main especially, I'd be interested to hear them. And I'm definitely willing to talk to you guys about how this deck's going to affect the format. Thanks so much for watching. A lot more content coming soon.